You doing your homework?
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Really serious conversation about it.
Good evening. It is a little past 6 o'clock and we are ready to start. I want to welcome each of you here tonight. This is the combined work session, our regular board meeting. Date is Monday, January 8th, and it's the School District of Oconee County Board of Trustees. So again, we appreciate each of you being here. And I invite you now, if you would like, to join us in a moment of silence as we begin. And at this time, we're going to have a Pledge of Allegiance, and this is going to be led by a group of choral students from Seneca Middle School. So I ask you to stand as they come forward.
Just right up here in the front would be great. Y'all can face this way and face the flag, that'd be all right. We'll get you to turn around in just a second. One of y'all want to take the lead?
Attention, salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. And thank y'all. And they will be back with us in just a moment. We're just
I
going to
think so.
say.
You know what?
I will.
Yeah, we'll call you back up in just a second. Y'all can just kind of stand on the side because it won't be just a few
No,
seconds.
just be for a moment. All right, I will go have received the agenda for the January 8th, 2024 work session, regular meeting. Did anybody have anything that needed changing, additions, deletions? All right, then the agenda stands approved with no objection. And then next is a special recognition.
And I'm going to ask our board chair, Ms. McCormick, to come down front with me so we can get a quick picture. Ms. McCormick is being honored for 20 years as a school board member. Which is a long time to serve our community.
Bless you.
And y'all, I'm not just saying this because she's 20% of my boss. She is an awesome school board member. She really is. She cares about students. She's doing this for the right reasons, and she makes decisions in the best interest of students. And I am just thrilled that she's been here serving our community so long. So let's give Ms. McCormick.
Thank you so much. It's a long time, isn't it? And now, our school highlight tonight is Seneca Middle School, and I'm glad to welcome Dr. Mike Corey, who is the principal at Seneca Middle School, and obviously has brought a lot of students with him. Thank you for being here.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ms. McCormick. Congratulations on that honor.
Thank you.
Dr. Dorsland, members of the board, it is my pleasure to introduce to you some outstanding Seneca students. Not only are they great in the arts that we're celebrating here this evening, thanks to all of your support, but they are outstanding scholars as well, which is most important. But thank you for all your support, and we're looking for programs like these to flourish in our exciting new building that we'll be going into, so appreciate you doing that as well. This first group of students that we're recognizing this evening are recipients of the All-State Honors. So these are students that were best in Oconee in our All-County Choral program, but also now they have gone for the state, and they have earned the state level All-State Choir that will be performing pretty soon. They're getting ready for those performances. So students, I'll be calling you up by your different classifications for your certificate. Sophia Keys. Audrey Mettler. These are all altos.
Friends.
Rosalind Spolestra. Holly Boyles.
He's not here.
We did have a few out of the absent. Janie Beth Watts. Oh no, those were sopranos, you're right. Altos. Marie Morales. Ella Steele.
She's the one with the flu.
And bass, Camden Smith. Have a photo. Great job. Can you just stay here? We also have another honor this evening. We would like to recognize Tillman Sullivan. Tillman gets another one because not only are we at the All-State honor level, but then Tillman went on to the Southeastern region. So just to understand what this is, 1,700 auditions in the Southeast. 11 southern states participate in that. And he was selected to the 2024 Southern Region Youth Honor Choir that will be taking place in February, and he'll be going to Louisville, Kentucky. And he will be representing not only Seneca Middle, but the great school district of Oconee as well. And also, like I mentioned, scholarly, we just received word he was also the 8th grade essay winner for the Americanism essay with the FRA Branch 15. So congratulations, Tillman. Outstanding. And finally, none of this would be happening at Seneca Middle and all the success also Seneca High Choir has had without an outstanding teacher. So Ms. Brock, come on up.
Oh, yeah.
This is also in recognition. Ms. Brock has received an outstanding recognition and award amongst her peers with choral teachers all across the state of South Carolina. This is a state recognition for 28 years of dedication to this that produces these type of successes that most schools and districts would love to get one or two students involved in, and she's got a whole group of them. So she was recently recognized this year as the South Carolina Choral Directors Association Excellence Award. It is an outstanding award for excellence and achievement in the field of choral music, and her 28 years dedicating to that. So, raising Seneca's success to unbelievable levels and our district. So thank you, Ms. Brock, for outstanding.
You know, it's so wonderful to have the arts in this school, and we just appreciate, honestly, all of you being here tonight. And it's just such an honor to know that we have this many that have gone into All-State and a region. It's just amazing. So thank you, Ms. Brock, and thank you, students, for being with us tonight. We sure do appreciate it. All right. And it's time for public comment, and I think we have one speaker tonight.
Yes, ma'am. Miss Sheehan?
Well, good evening. Thank you all for the opportunity to address you tonight. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Wanda Sheehan. You met my husband a few months ago, Lee Sheehan, and he spoke on the same issue that I'd like to discuss. What to do with the Seneca Middle School. Forgive me if I'm nervous. As much as I love to talk, I absolutely hate public speaking. So I'm going to try not to refer to my notes too much. But I started this most recent petition And I say recent because I understand there was a previous petition started back last year sometime by some folks that lived in or around the Adams subdivision. And I understand that you guys were presented with that petition that had several hundred signatures on it. I wasn't involved in that. I didn't even know about it at the time. And I also understand that several community members spoke in favor of giving the school to the rec site, or to the city, for the expansion of the rec site at the time. I started this petition because I found out that our kids are running out of room to play. Our grandson, which we brought with us tonight, because we don't have a babysitter, his dad's working, he plays rec sports, and he loves them. He looks forward to them every time. And it's just really hard for me to believe that, you know, we've got kids out here that don't have that same opportunity. He asked where we were going, and I said, well, we're going to go talk to the school board. And, well, what about? Well, we're going to talk with them about kids playing sports, because even though you had the opportunity to play basketball this time around, there's a lot of kids that don't have that opportunity. So he understands why we're here. But anyway, he had practice this past Saturday. His team has only practiced 3 times. We had over 500 kids to sign up, and we have a waiting list. And so they were actually practicing 4 teams at a time on 2 courts. We had 4, 2 on half courts. We were practicing on half courts. He got his schedule, and he is scheduled for 4 games. I remember not too many years ago, the kids had 2 pages of games, I talked with the rec site, and they said, what was the typical? And Rick said 8 to 10. So we've gone from 8 to 10 to 4. While we were there at the rec site, I took the petitions with me. Within an hour, from 11 to 12, when he was practicing, got 84 signatures. That brings the total to 1,142. 8 of those are face-to-face encounters. And we have 339 online. So, we've had holidays. I was kind of disappointed, and my husband pointed out, hey, that's a considerable amount of signatures considering this is a small community. Plus holidays, and it's too cold to get out in the neighborhoods in downtown right now. So, but I know that just based on the interaction that we've had with folks in the community, and I think even Sandra was talking and canvassing one day, getting opinions and input from folks. We've heard nothing out of the total count here. We've had like 4 people, and one of them really doesn't count as being opposed because he talked to me and then he talked to Lisa. It was the same person. But anyway, according to the School District of Oconee County website, your mission says that you partner with families to develop responsible, productive citizens who are lifelong learners. If that's truly your mission, then giving the school property to these children in our community is the right thing to do. I think everybody can see the benefits in regard to the relationship between rec sports and academics. And I'm certainly sure as educators and school board members, you guys recognize it because it's so well documented in the educational community. There's been tons of universities who have done independent studies with the same results. Kids who play sports do better in school. Just to throw out three names: University of San Diego, Florida National University, Michigan State. San Diego says they offer an overview of their benefits of sports, and they can positively impact physical health, mental health, and emotional health and social skills on top of academic performance. It lowers dropout rates. They have higher GPAs, 40% higher test scores than their counterparts who do not participate. They have statistically higher likelihood of going on to college. The same article goes on to say, research shows that former student athletes are more productive at work. You just mentioned that in your mission statement. Your mission statement says that is the mission, to develop responsible, productive citizens who are lifelong learners. It aligns with the mission statement. I believe this is the right thing to do, and I'm running out of time, because of 3 things. There's documented studies from numerous government and numerous educational sources linking participation in sports to academic success. Number 2, there's been 2 petitions brought here before you guys, saying, give this to our kids, do this for the community. It's obvious what the people in the community want. We've got signatures from Salem, from Westminster, from Walhalla. It's not just Seneca, it's a community thing. And thirdly, it's because your mission says this is what you do. This aligns with your mission. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I think that was the only public comment that we had tonight. We appreciate you being here. At this time, we'll have an approval of the minutes. These are the minutes from the December 11th, 2023 work session meeting and regular board meeting. Did anyone see any changes in those minutes? All right, then we will approve those minutes with no objection. And now we'll move on to Dr. Thorsland's superintendent report.
Thank you, and I want to start by just letting everyone know that January is School Board Member Appreciation Month. And I want to express my appreciation to each of you. And I know I speak for the leadership team here, but really for all of our employees and families. We do appreciate the job that you do, and know that this fall in particular, you've probably gotten your share of phone calls and constituent input. But we also just wanted to give you a small gift of appreciation, and I'll tell you a little bit about this. The last couple of years, we've tried to do some local artwork, and we saw this at Stan's art studio over Christmas. But these are made by a man named Michael Mason, Mason's Wood Turning, and he lives down in Fairplay, South Carolina. So these are Oconee County made bowls and turned right here locally, and we just thought they were beautiful, and wanted to give you all a small token of our appreciation for all that you do for the students and families of Oconee County. So thank you for what you do, and we hope we show appreciation for 12 months of the year, but since this is School Board Appreciation Month, we wanted to do a little something extra. And then just the other part of my update, to talk a little bit about the Seneca Middle property. I do want everyone to know that we have, Mr. Hamby and I have met with Seneca City officials, and we have already told them that we plan to be out of that building at the end of the school year, and while we're not quite ready to make a recommendation to you on how the property's transferred, we have told them that they are free to go ahead and put it in their plan to use the field in the fall if they need it for football, use the gym during next basketball season. So as far as students using the facility, the city of Seneca knows that it is wide open for their use once we no longer occupy that building for a school. We are just kind of, just to be quite honest, assessing the value of the property. Most of the time, I think when we've donated properties in the past to different municipalities, quite honestly, they haven't been worth a lot of money. And this one, on the open market, probably would bring a lot of money. And we're just wondering if there would be some way where we could offset a future property purchase with this. So we're just trying to work out the details on that. But we certainly don't object at all to the city of Seneca using the property while we work out those details. And of course, you as a board will ultimately make that decision. So if the decision was to donate it or do some kind of property swap or sell it, that'll ultimately be your call, but we're not quite ready to make a recommendation just from the administrative standpoint. But we have communicated that it's open for use for the recreation program as soon as we don't occupy that building in late May. So.
Thank you. The next thing on the agenda is the 2024 Ethical Principles signing. Now, just to let you know what this is the poster that we as school board members sign each year. But I wanted to kind of call your attention to it this year. It is the principles that govern us as school board members and how we act and how we react with the community. You know, as I was reading through these, and I hope they'll be online, and I hope maybe you'll take a few moments and look at them. But I kind of think the first and the last ones are probably the most important to us. As a member of my district school board, I pledge my efforts to improve public education in my community and will solemnly try to, one, represent the interest of the entire district when making decisions and to rely on available facts and on our judgment rather than on individuals or special interest groups. And then the final one is make our district's educational setting the best possible to encourage all students to achieve and to love learning. That's what we're here for. There's a lot of other ones, but I think those are the main things that we're here for. And I'm going to ask each of our school board members to sign this poster, and we will have it visible. But it is important to us, and we do take our jobs very seriously. And I'm glad that we have an opportunity to explain that to you.
We may try to take a picture with you standing in behind that poster here after the meeting. We won't interrupt the meeting for that. The School Boards Association has asked for a photo op if we can get that. So.
Okay, great. Thank you all so very much, and thank you for serving. I have certainly enjoyed my time here, and I appreciate each one of you and all that you give. At this time, we have the Sarah Elementary Continuous Improvement Plan, and Josh Harrison's here to present that to us.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank y'all so much for having me. I apologize for missing y'all in December, as I was at home battling a little sickness at the time. So what I want to talk about first is, I think y'all have a copy of this if I'm correct. And on page 1, basically this data was just transferred from our school report card, which was released on the State Department website. And we fell in that below average rating, 1 point from the next level. And it's pretty obvious to see our main concern there was our student progress. This is all students they're taking these tests. And so what we did with this improvement plan was obviously identify our areas for growth as well as our strengths. And we come in really, really strong there in school climate. That's one thing we've definitely prided ourselves on over the last few years. And I believe, as the leader there, that we can have both. We can have high achievement, we can have high growth, and we can still have a wonderful climate. So with that, we flip the page over to our goals, and that's really what I want to highlight with y'all. One of our goals is by the end of this school year, our 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade gifted and talented students will receive an extra 15 minutes of enrichment. So one thing we identified was, with that being all student progress, we need to make sure we are pushing even our top tier students as well. Not just getting caught up in trying to close gaps, but pushing those high achieving students on further. And we're going to target that with 15 minutes of enrichment each week. Specific in math and ELA skills through the use of IXL, which is one of our instructional programs that our students are very familiar with. And, through some reflection on this, we probably do spend a little bit too much time just staying on them about their lowest skills. And so I think this has even kind of gravitated throughout our entire school, where teachers are now trying to spend a little bit more time on those higher skills. So what is a goal for just our G2 students really seems to be spreading through all students as well. And then you see the action items there. We communicated that with our GT teachers. We have the way we have it set up is we have a teacher at each grade level. So the students are pulled daily, and they receive 45 minutes, which actually sets us a little over the time that we're required. So we have 15 minutes that we can do this, and we're still not into their regular GT time. Progress monitoring through their goals, through IXL, and then obviously demonstrating and modeling to students how to identify their highest, which they probably could show me how to do that better than I can show them, to be honest with you. Goal number 2, so first of all, any questions, comments, concerns, I'll kind of go over goal. Goal number 2, based on the use of common assessments through Mastery Connect and our benchmarks this year, this school year, our students' achievement will increase from 60.8 to 71%. We wanted a full double-digit growth there as our goal. In our math standards, we identified that as one of our areas that needed a little more growth, so we're going to focus in on those math skills. We're going to use our benchmark assessments in math, and then we're also going to use common formative assessments through Mastery Connect, another program that the district has provided for us to use, as well as continuing to provide our PLC time, common planning, which our teachers have always had, and then the reteaching through guided math groups and intervention time. Any questions, comments, concerns there? And then moving ahead to our third goal, which is on the third page at the top there. During the rest of this school year, our 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade teachers will pull students for Tier 2 intervention. That's a little more identifying their weakest, lowest levels and meeting them where they are, 5 days a week. That's something that we're already doing. And then also pulling small groups based on our benchmark data, where they're actually dividing kids up and sharing kids and reteaching standards that they've identified that each group needs. So we've already started this. They're using IXL quizzes as an assessment tool. One thing we've already noticed as we reflect through and work through this process is that what students are showing us in IXL isn't always translating over to the benchmark. So we actually got together today and talked about starting to build those assessments in Mastery Connect. So we're making sure we're getting that rigor in the assessment to see exactly where those kids are. And that'll show us whether pulling these small groups is beneficial or not. But through our monthly faculty meetings, our weekly PLC meetings, and our monthly data meetings, that's how we'll form these groups, decide who's going to teach what skill, and go from there. A lot of this, like I said, we were already doing. We just formulated it into the paper here. So we are positive and forward-thinking, and we know that we're going to be able to show the community what we're doing at Fair Oak. Some things that aren't going to show up in this plan or show up on that school report card is our K through 2 teachers doing the book study, shifting the balance that we're going through this year. We've received a lot of positive feedback there, already have noticed some changes within the classroom. Our reading coach is doing coaching cycles, book clubs. She set up the South Carolina Department of Education to come in and do a vocabulary training. So we're already really starting that shift over at Fair Oak and receiving a lot of positive buy-in from our staff and teachers. Our PLC time continues to grow over there, with the support of the district really backing us on that. We've been able to have lots of intentional changes that aren't overwhelming our staff, but just shifting. I'll never question anybody's work ethic at Fair Oak. I just want to make sure it's going into the right things, and that's what PLC has allowed us to do, is really spark a lot of good conversation and reflection, and tweak some things here and there. So another piece of evidence that we kind of have now this year that we're doing the benchmarks is we constantly are checking to make sure we're where we are within the district and within our county. And just looking back over, we've had 14 opportunities for our students to participate in those benchmark assessments. That's 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. And the reason we get to 14 is because 4th grade takes science. And so there's 2 additional ones there. But out of the 14, 11 of those we've been at or above the district average in the results of that. So we're very proud of that, and we want to see that trend continue. Some of those gaps have grown from one to the other because we've only had 2. Some gaps have closed a little bit, but with that, it kind of lets us know where we're staying with our county. Any questions, comments, concerns?
I did have a question. Your first goal being, strictly geared towards your gifted and talented students. What percentage of the 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade students are in GT, and of the 15 minutes extra that they're going to be receiving? Some of the heartburn I have as a former educator is gifted and talented is great, as long as you're increasing the rigor, not just the time. So increasing that, in 15 minutes is great, but are you also going to be increasing the rigor of that extra instruction?
Yeah, so during our regular GT time is when that rigor is really increased. And this extra 15 minutes is more of a skill-based enrichment versus a standard rigor intervention.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I'd love to just make one comment. The two principals here tonight are new principals to Oconee County. Mr. Harrison is in his first year, has been an assistant principal at Fair Oak. Dr. Corey is first year in Oconee County. He's a very experienced principal though, but I do want to brag on both of them because they have done an outstanding job at their respective schools. And I would just encourage you to talk to the staff members there because I think you would hear extremely positive comments about both of them. They're both doing a superb job. So happy to have both of them here tonight.
Absolutely.
Well, thank y'all, and thank you all again. Congratulations on your month. Hope you feel celebrated. We appreciate all of you for 12 months out here, like Dr. Fortune said, so thank you for the time.
Thank you.
And as Josh walks away, you'll notice that we have this plan also listed under action items, because we will need to have it approved so that we can submit it to the State Department.
We will do that. Mr. Schickling, the December financial report.
So for the December financial report, you'll see that local tax revenue is starting to increase a little bit. That's the front end of some of the county collections for annual taxes. And usually January and February are the big months where we see a lot of our cash flow come in. Nothing else out of the ordinary on the revenue side. And expenditures, short month for check disbursements, but again, 2 payrolls, so the standard payroll expenses. And you can see part of our fund balance investment plan was to pay off the obligation to the YMCA. That was a 20-year obligation, but we were able to complete that in, I think, 4 or 5 installments. So you'll see that under the community services expenditure, and that's the extent of the expenses. Again, that's the largest disbursement on the check report. You can see Seneca Middle is dwindling down a little bit on the capital expenditure side. And then the capital expenditure budgets, you can see some of the projects coming online there, and many of them complete that we've scheduled out of the last year as well. So a lot of progress being made, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
I have a quick question, and Steve probably be the one to answer this. I was looking at the cost of the baseball fields. One at Walhalla is $50,000, and then you have one at Seneca and West Oak at $15,000. Walhalla being the newest, I was just wondering what is the difference there in those?
That project was for, to put drains in the outfield, and from center field to left field, it would just not perk. I mean, they tried different materials, they tried to do whatever, but we ended up having to go in and put French drains in to have it go out and get it off the field. We did the same thing on the soccer field, except we did the whole soccer field. It's just that area where the water runs off Highway 11 right there, and we couldn't get it to drain the way it needed to, so we put that in. What's going on at West Oak now, the turf was just to have them come in and re-edge, replace dirt that needed to be in there, replace clay on the mound, and get the infield level. So that was a separate type project. Walhalla's was more of we can't practice on this field for 3 days if it rains or have a game. So
You answered that it was just I was wondering about. Thank you, I appreciate it.
And the Seneca, when we say turf, for the baseball turf, it's what we call planing, where they bring those machines in and laser it and get it right.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? All right, thank you so much. All right, legislative update. Ms. McDonald.
All right. So the South Carolina legislative update, there's about 5 different pieces of, or regulations or pieces of legislation that are potentially moving through at the state level. So the first thing that I'm highlighting is just the governor's budget. You'll notice that he's requesting a $250 million increase to the state aid to classroom funds, with the hope of adding $2,500 as a step increase to the minimum salary schedule at the state level, the statewide salary. So currently SDOC is already over what the state minimum would be, which would be $45,000. But in addition to this change, he's also proposing a change to the state salary schedule. And the way the current salary schedule looks is you have a step increase for each year of educational experience that a teacher has, in addition to classifications based on your educational attainment level. What he's proposing, based on the recommendations provided by the 2023 Teacher Recruitment and Retention Task Force, is actually truncating that schedule so that instead of having 5 classifications, so bachelor's plus 18, master's, and so on and so forth, there would now be 2 columns, 2 buckets, for a bachelor's degree and then a graduate level degree. So you would no longer see master's plus 30, and doctorate. You just have 2 columns, and you would have bachelor's plus 15, just bachelor's. And then whenever you look at it going horizontally, looking at our rows, you would have different bands. So instead of seeing a step increase each year, you would see a step increase after every 3 years. So the salary schedule would start off with $45,000 for teachers in the experience levels of 0 to 3 years. And then at that 4 through 6 level, you would see a $2,000 increase. With each band by 3 years, you see another $2,000 increase. Whenever you look between the bachelor's level and the graduate level, there's a $5,000 difference. So again, that's just a proposal, but it's not something that's necessarily moved forward yet. We'll have to wait to see whether the House and whether the Senate passed that budget. Some other educational funding proposals that the governor has set forth is just to make sure that supply check that our teachers get at the beginning of the year, increasing that by $50, expanding full day 4K, also including $5 million for school mapping, which of course is in response to all the events that we see in schools with school shooters and different things like that, allowing local municipality police departments to have maps of schools across our state, so that whenever they go in, they're able to go in and quickly assess and determine where they need to go. We're also seeing them continue to work to make sure every school has an SRO, as well as allocating money for new buses, retention of bonuses for bus drivers, and then over $120 million for new instructional materials, which of course would be ushered in by our new ELA and math standards that would be able to help support that work. Again, all of this is just preliminary. Nothing has been finalized with our state budgets yet, and nothing has changed. It's just what the governor is currently proposing. The next highlight is a regulation that our State Board of Education is putting forth for instructional materials. One of the things that Superintendent Weaver has really talked about is just transparency with parents in the community. And so this regulation was really born out of her desire to make sure she's holding true to that idea that she's kind of put forth out there. And so the main things with this is whenever we look at transparency, making sure that parents have access to whatever and knowing whatever is in our school media centers and our libraries. And so it would create a catalog where we would need to put on our website every book that we have in our media centers and our libraries. Another piece that's been talked about a lot, that a lot of angst, I guess, gets some folks, and other folks see it as this is a good thing for us to do, is just that there could be a situation where your teachers have to list all the instructional materials that are made available in their classroom upon a reasonable request for a parent. And they do list or define an instructional material as any collection of books or materials purchased, acquired, or kept on public school grounds by any teacher or other public school employee and made available to students, regardless of how or by whom such materials are acquired or purchased. So it really is all encompassing of what's in a classroom. Another piece of this legislation just that really everything kind of hinges on is this idea of something being age and developmentally appropriate, as well as aligned to South Carolina standards and what we want our students to learn. And so if something is deemed as not being age and developmentally appropriate, parents as well as local community members can go through the process of bringing that material to their local school board, going through that process of trying to get it removed. If the school board does not remove and they feel as though it shouldn't be, they can appeal to the state level. If they appeal to the state level, what then happens if the state determines that it's developmentally inappropriate and something that needs to be pulled back, it's actually pulled back across the state. So if something was challenged in Charleston, and then it goes to the state level to be challenged, and the State Department of Education sides with that parent or that community member and says this is not appropriate for our students, it comes out of every school across the district, across the state. So that would be one other thing that would kind of be a shift. But whenever you look at the processes in place that are outlined in here, it really lines up to really what we already have in place for media center instructional challenges, and so we would just kind of have to make some adjustments for the next steps. 3H4280, the Educator Assistance Act, this is again passed in the House, and so it's waiting in the Senate for them to talk about it in Education Committee. This would eliminate the requirement for educators on a professional certificate to submit recertification paperwork every 5 years. So this would not include teachers who are first-year teachers or second-year teachers. They're still going through induction, they're still going through ADEPT. But for every 5 years, every teacher goes through that process of, pulling out all the classes they've taken, all the PD they've attended, and trying to get that submitted to the State Department. And so it would eliminate that requirement. It also potentially reduces the penalty for a breach of contract. So for those teachers who decide that they no longer want to finish teaching during the year, or maybe it's the beginning of the school year and they've got another job offer in another district, right? And it's like 10 days before school starts, it could potentially eliminate that penalty. That would typically take away their ability to teach for a year and suspend that license. And the last one is it gives certified educators a 10-day period from the date a district posts their salary schedule to withdraw a contract without penalty. And S125, scholarships for future educators, kind of is exciting if this goes through, just because education majors would be eligible for an enhanced lottery scholarship, which we already currently have available for those who go into math and science majors. And for students who are receiving Life or Palmetto Fellows, that means they could potentially get over $7,500 to go to school. So that, of course, is always fun when we see teachers getting, a nice little thing like that. And then the next one, or the last one, is H4624, gender reassignment procedures. This bill is mainly about medicalese legislation, but there is a part of it that does speak to schools and school operations. And it just says that if a school or anybody that works within a school, if they should not knowingly encourage or coerce a minor to withhold from their parent or legal guardian the fact that the minor perceives his or her gender is inconsistent with his or her sex. And in addition, if they also suspect that student may have gender dysphoria, so if they think that their gender does not align with their sex or have gender identity disorder or any other psychological condition that could result in a person identifying with a gender different than their sex, then they have to notify that student's parent or legal guardian, which of course would align with our mission of partnering with families and making sure that our families are aware of, what's going on in our schools. So those are just the legislative updates that we have for this go round, and we'll keep you informed.
Thank you so much. It sounds like it's going to be an interesting session. Anybody have any questions? Elizabeth, anything to add? Okay. All right, so we are moving into our action items, and our first one is the approval of the Fair Oak Elementary Continuous Improvement Plan. We've heard that tonight. Did anybody have any questions? We didn't at that point. Then I will ask for a motion to approve the Fair Oak Elementary Continuous Improvement Plan.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? All right. So that has been approved. We have one policy that needs first reading approval.
Right.
That's right.
Nice.
What you said now. And that is policy JJ, student activities. Anybody need any review of that policy?
If you remember, it's just the third page where we had the changes to get everything balanced out with the high school age requirements.
Okay. Then do I have a motion that we approve on first reading, policy JJ, student activities?
So moved.
Okay. All right, any more questions of Steve on this one? All right, all in favor? All right, so that's approved on first reading. And then we have several policies that we're going to approve on second reading, and we've heard about these for months. So unless there's some specific question, I would like to just go ahead and approve all of these in one lump approval. The first one is policy GBE Gavin's Law for staff, then policy JICFD Gavin's Law for students, policy GBED Tobacco-Free Schools staff, policy JICG Tobacco Use by Students, policy JLIG Sun Safety, policy JFABD Admission of Homeless Students, policy JFABD-R Admission of Homeless Students, policy JFABH Military Temporary Remote School Enrollment, policy IKF Graduation Requirements, and policy IKF-R Graduation Requirements. All right, do I have a motion that we approve all of those on second reading?
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the policies that you just mentioned to us on second reading.
Okay,
Second.
all right. So as I say, we have heard about these for a number of months, but are there any questions whatsoever on any of them? Any comments you'd like to make? You're good? Okay, all right. Then all in favor? All right, and so all of those policies are passed with second reading approval. And at this time, it is time that we have set aside for board member comments, so if anyone has anything they would like to say, now's the time.
Congratulations,
Oh, thank you.
Denise.
I appreciate that. Been good. Anything else?
I'd also like to thank our city, community member who came to present tonight.
Absolutely. All right, then, at this time, we will adjourn for executive session. So if I could have a motion to go into executive session for personnel items, employment recommendations, and changes. Okay, we have a motion, here a second.
Second.
All right, all in favor? Okay. All right, thank you all very much for attending tonight. We appreciate you being here. Appreciate our principals being here. Thank you.